the only way to be sure.
I want you to rest well, and a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. This is Inside Your Screen, and today we are talking about the Amazon disaster movie, Greenland. Brendan, I'm here with Brendan. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I was quite surprised by this. I'll be completely honest with you. I was expecting a very kind of standard, generic 2012, even though that was a good film. It's a guilty pleasure type of film. And I was thinking, okay, this is going to be Gerard Butler punching his way out, saving the president type of thing, affair. It wasn't.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I'll be completely honest, I didn't know about this movie at all. Obviously, it was scheduled for release last year, and due to COVID and the pandemic, it was kind of pushed back. And I think eventually what they did was they released it on HBO Max just before Christmas in the United States.
Yeah.
And they sold it to Amazon, I think, worldwide. But I think it did release in cinemas in like a few countries. You know, we had that kind of semi-opening of the country in the summer, where the cinemas were open for maybe a month or 2 months. And I think this is one of those ones, not in the UK, but in Europe. So I think maybe there was a few countries.
It slipped through the cracks.
Never even heard of it, but read an article about it last week, and I'm just a complete stickler for disaster movies, man.
We do like our disaster films. Brendan, give me your top 3 disaster films that you like.
And they're really I have to preempt this with saying I'm into really crap disaster movies. Like, I understand these aren't necessarily good movies.
Well, what do you mean by crap? Do you mean over the top?
Just not
like your 2012s and your.
Do you know, like, what we do, what we don't necessarily do here, but, there's a big kind of trend now, especially on YouTube, of people really breaking down movies to kind of show the flaws. They do, some of the guys do it almost frame by frame, and a lot of the time, a lot of these videos are really good and really funny. But I'm kind of, the way I would judge this is, let's say I didn't plan on watching a disaster movie, but there was nothing on TV and it came on the channel. Would I watch it through, even though I've kind of watched it before? Do you know what I mean?
Are you saying like the kind of Pierce Brosnan, Dante's Peak sort of stuff?
No, like Dante's Peak, I think, is one of the really poor ones that I wouldn't like really poor. But I
take offence to that. Pierce Brosnan, Linda Hamilton, A Volcano.
Yeah. So if I'm honest with you, the shitty disaster movies that I liked, I always really liked. Was it the Poseidon?
Yeah, you got the Poseidon Adventure.
Is that the one where the boat goes upside down?
Well, are you talking about the classic original Poseidon, or are you talking about
the original from the 60s or the 70s?
Yeah. It was Poseidon's disaster. Yeah.
So that, I love that movie. Whenever it's on, I will always watch that start to finish.
You're not talking about the Kurt Russell vehicle Poseidon, which was, I believe, I want to say 2012, but I could be wrong. No, it's probably
was that remake?
It was a remake, yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen the remake. Wasn't
with Fergie? That's the one where Fergie's playing and she gets killed.
Oh, no, I didn't even know it existed, to be completely honest with you.
Well, ladies and gents, if you want to see Fergie killed, then watch Poseidon.
I quite like Deep Impact. I quite like The Day After Tomorrow.
What about Armageddon?
Armageddon, I'm not sure, because so much of it is based in space. I don't know if I would class it in my. It is a disaster movie.
It takes you out of the
space movie, really. I always most of what my memory of that. So no, that wouldn't be up there. But 2012. I didn't actually mind 2012.
I love 2012.
Yeah.
I love any Nicolas Cage film, to be honest with you. But even if it's a disaster film with Nicolas Cage in it, sign me up. I'm there, baby.
Excuse me, is Nicolas Cage in 2012?
Yeah, he's the main guy.
No, isn't it?
He's a limousine driver, and he's like
Nicolas Cage. That's
Nicolas Cage.
No, that's not Nicolas Cage. It's not.
It is. 2012 is Nicolas Cage. He's a limousine driver. Fuck!
John
What's
Cusack.
the Nicolas Cage one? Where did I get? Oh, I was so wrong then. What's the
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage disaster movie?
I don't know. I didn't know there was
Wow,
one.
I got my films confused.
But I quite liked. Maybe
You're right. It's John Cusack. Yeah.
John
Oh
Cusack,
man.
Yeah. So
What am I
2012, I
thinking of?
really
I'm
enjoyed.
gonna have to look into this while you talking, Brendan, because I feel just ashamed of myself now that I got those two confused.
How about you tell me? I'll look that up because I think that's pretty much. They're the type of ones I really like. And
No, you're right. I knew exactly the film you're talking about. I was just so 100% that it was Nicolas Cage, but it's not. But I'm pretty sure he has been in a disaster film, and that's where I was getting it confused.
Yeah, so I kind of like films when it is like natural disasters as opposed to like for example, I was going to throw Independence Day in the mix, but that's more sci-fi as opposed to.
Well, yeah, it's an invasion. That's an invasion film, I would say. It's not a natural disaster film. It's an invasion film. It's like War of the Worlds type of thing. I would put that in a different genre.
As an example, would you kind of class the kind of Godzilla franchise and that type of thing?
I would put that as like a monster. No, I'd put that as a monster movie.
Okay,
yeah, like that would be the same. So in Greenland, we have Gerard Butler starring as John Garrity, a Scottish-born structural engineer, who's estranged from his wife Alison, who's played by Morona Baccarin, who you'll know, Brendan. I'm sure you will, from Deadpool.
Yeah.
And we don't really know at the start of the movie why they're estranged. It's kind of left out there. But the domestic situation soon takes a backseat because there's an imminent arrival of a massive comet nicknamed Clark, of all comets. I don't know. This is the thing as well. Like, who names these things? Like, what scientists?
I think they often are named after the person who discovers it. So
I know, but don't you think that's like a really bad thing anyway? Like Hurricane Katrina, for example, devastated loads of people, and then you're thinking, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have named this after myself because this has literally killed thousands of people and has left a load of people desolate and stuff. And why would I name this after myself? Isn't that a bit narcissistic? I don't know. It's not like naming a star after yourself because, like, you look up at the stars and go, oh, there's a star. You know, this will never have an impact in my life whatsoever. If there's a hurricane or a tsunami or some kind of meteor strike, you're not going to name it, here's Comet Tony coming down or Comet Brendan. Because then for like years afterwards, you'd be like, oh, Comet Brendan killed my family. And you're like, what's your name? Brendan.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know enough about the actual facts of how they choose that. But I'm guessing that it's kind of not really a choice-based system. I know.
I just thought like
Clark,
Clark.
I don't
Clark
think
is
I
a bit
don't
of a
think
weird name. Like Clark Kent. Like you're thinking Superman. You're thinking, that's what I think anyway.
Like as an example, at the start of this film, do you know what I mean? The news is breaking. There is a comet on its way to Earth called the Earth Destroyer. No one will live.
So anyway, Gerard Butler and his family, basically, they're all getting together for like some kind of like barbecue, American good old times. Let's watch the comet strike the sea, which at that point as well, I was thinking, but surely that would cause a tsunami. But anyway, the comet doesn't land where it's supposed to land. It actually lands in America, in Atlanta, I think it is. Tampa. And Gerard Butler's character gets like a kind of phone call from the kind of presidential style.
He actually gets
emergency.
He gets that before the comet lands.
He does.
So he goes out shopping for beer, doesn't he? Yeah,
he goes out shopping to get like some, hot dog weenies and whatever you have at your barbecue. And he gets that kind of American style, like, this is a national security measure. You have to go. You and your family have been selected to go into this underground bunker. And at first he's like, no one else is really kicking off, so I'm not too sure about it, which is a very kind of understandable, very realistic thing. But then obviously when he goes outside his house and he gets the shockwave from Tampa, he knows that things are going to go very bad very soon. So the good news is that he and his wife and his diabetic son Nathan are all being cleared because he's a structural engineer, and obviously the new world will need those kind of people in their lives. He gets this kind of like golden free ticket, like Willy Wonka has been given gives out the tickets, and he's been given the free pass. Bad news is that he has to get to the kind of place, the military base where planes are taking off. And that's where he gets separated from his family, and it goes into the kind of, I would say, the generic sort of style of like that type of film, of where, there's a natural disaster, family who may not get along. I'm looking at like the War of the Worlds, the Tom Cruise War of the Worlds vehicle here, where like, you know, he has to then sort of, he struggles to get back to his family, they're struggling to get back to him, they all try and meet up at the same spot. Really, the plot in this kind of film isn't the kind of forbearing thing here. It's more the kind of, it's the journey. It's the journey. It's not the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah, it was these chunks of the movie that were the parts that I disliked the most. I would have, yeah, I understand that you want your characters to come into conflict and you want the unknown and you kind of want this, you know, you want to bring out this emotional, hard journey for your characters. But I just thought the breaking up of the family was almost like filler, to be completely honest.
Do you think? I mean, I thought that was the kind of the whole, you know, crux of the film, really.
It was, but in the same, yeah, I suppose you're right. I mean, how long was it? It's a couple of hours, 2 hours.
I think it's a 2-hour film. There was a point where I was thinking that Gerard Butler was about to go into his Enterprise rent-a-car mode, where he was about to phone up that someone from the advert and go like, "Hey, I need a car. Where are you?" You know, from his adverts, but it didn't happen.
Yeah,
I was a bit surprised it didn't happen.
I understand the structure of a story, and I understand the basics of, you know, you want your characters to, you know, you want to put a conflict in front of your character, how they get over that conflict, how they deal with it, you know, and then the journey and the numerous conflicts of the journey of the character. Some of it just seemed a bit far-fetched and over the. I'll be honest with you. So there was the scene where John, our main character, I'm just going to call him Gerard Butler, they've been split up, and Gerard Butler's wife and daughter, or wife and son, have been given a lift by a nice couple who are like, you know, we'll take you as far as we possibly can. And then at the same time, Gerard Butler's had his conflict. He's gone back to get the medicine bag, and now he's kind of now in the back of a truck traveling to his destination. And it was this maybe 25-minute section which I just thought where basically what happened was for Gerard Butler's character, there was two guys on the truck who basically wanted his wristband. That was the wristband that was going to get him on the plane to take him to this bunker in Greenland. And a fight breaks out. The truck kind of crashes almost. There's loads of passengers in the back of the truck. They all fall out. Big fight ensues. Gerard Butler ends up killing one of these guys. We then kind of cut to Marina Baccarin's character and her son, and they're all, you know, they're on their way in the journey, and all of a sudden the couple, the husband, it's a couple, a husband and a wife, who are driving them to safety wherever they can get them. The husband just decides, right, you've got he realizes she has a wristband, and we're gonna now kidnap this kid, and we're going to try and take the kid back ourselves and get in with the kid, because obviously we'll get in with the kid, right? And it was the speed in which these two incidents happened, right, that I just thought was a bit far-fetched. And I know it's a movie, I know it's a holiday, but I didn't like that section at all. Really.
Okay, I mean, I disagree with you. I think, like, you know, with all these type of films, there is that kind of sentiment of, like, you know, who is the worst enemy here? It's ourselves. We're the monsters. Yeah. And I think that shows that in that juxtaposition where you have Gerard Butler, who's on a kind of truck, very kind of reminiscent of, like, you know, people being picked up for work sort of thing, and you know, he's just thrown on this kind of truck with all these other people. That's where he finds out. I mean, in a kind of plot integral scene, that's where he finds out that there's a plane that's been going to Greenland, that there might be some safety there. Exactly as you said, like, he kind of confides in this one guy, but shows himself off to have a bracelet, which basically means that's your Willy Wonka golden ticket. And there's another couple of guys in the van that are like, we're going to have that then. And then you cut to, the wife, who's basically been picked up by this seemingly nice couple from a kind of looting store. And they find out that she's got a ticket as like she's got a bracelet as well, but then they'll be able to get in if they kind of pose themselves off as the real parents. And it just kind of shows the kind of the worst. And these type of films do show that regularly. Most like zombie films and all that kind of stuff. It's not really the kind of the enemy isn't the kind of the God-fearing earthquake or the tsunami or the ice storm or anything like that. It's the people that are actually reacting to this thing.
Okay, you've made a really, really good point there, right? And I just want to point out something now before we kind of go further into what happens in the story, just because we've missed out a little chunk which I thought from my perspective was really integral to the story and I really actually liked. But I did just to summarize that, I just didn't like that. I don't know what it was about that 20 minutes. I just thought it was a bit too far-fetched.
That's because you're dead inside, Brendan. You're dead inside and you don't have an emotional connection.
Maybe if there was a time gap between the two incidents happening.
But it's all happening quickly quick. It's got to be like...
But it's not
like that,
It's not really happening quickly quick, is it?
It's happening quickly quick. It's quickly quick. It's quickly quick. I can't even say it that much because it's that quick.
But there's the scene, and this is what I thought was really interesting because you mentioned about who's the enemy really here. It's and it's about people and how they react to scenarios. What I thought was really integral was the scene at the army base where Marina Baccarin and her son are basically refused to get on the plane because he's got diabetes, and it's like we can't take that. And there's the scene between. Let me get the character's name because I keep on saying.
Are you referring to the wife?
The wife. Can I just call her the wife? But that seems just a bit bad. She's actually really brilliant in this. Her performance in this is really good. So Marina Baccarin basically confronts.
You've got Alison, who's the wife, and you've got Nathan, who's the son.
Alison and Nathan and the army lady is saying you're not getting on the plane because he's got diabetes, and she basically turns around to her and she's like, do you not have children? Like, can you not bend the rules? Like, what can and there's this moment where she's almost like accusing her of being heartless. Can you not just look away? What would you do for your family? And she just looks at her bluntly. She was like, well, my family wasn't selected to get on the plane. And I thought that was a really monumental moment and we'll get to that point at the end when we kind of summarize, because I do have a kind of mini view on this kind of film.
Okay, it's quite interesting because I was on the opposite side of the fence. I was like, yeah, your diabetic sons, because they're looking to repopulate the world. You have to look at the greater good here, Brendan. And you're going to have a diabetic person who needs insulin every day that they can't produce.
So that's exactly my point. My point on that was more Alison looks the bad guy in that scenario to me because of this privilege, this turn a blind eye. Who are you? Why won't you let us on the plane? It's like, hold on, sweetheart. None of my family's getting on any plane. They're all going to die today. So fuck you. Yeah. I kind of like that.
But she kind of does relent in the end, though, doesn't she? The army lady.
No.
Well, she says like, if your husband's on the plane, then I'll
get him.
But he's not on the plane. They can't contact him because it's not.
That's all that was. She basically said, "I'll see if I can find your husband for you, but you ain't getting on no plane. You ain't getting on a plane."
I think the kind of the main issue here is that we really need to say those like don't have kids
with diabetes.
No, just don't have kids at all. If they didn't have Nathan, the child, they would have been on that plane. The plane would have left. The insurgents that kind of came into the base, they would have been gone by that time. They would have been in there. And that would be the end of the film.
The moral of the story is
would have come up saying,
don't
have kids.
Don't eat too many sweets. Don't get diabetic. Because when push comes to shove, even if you get the golden ticket, they ain't letting you. This ain't a chocolate factory, right? It's not the golden ticket to the chocolate factory. It's a golden ticket to somewhere where if you got diabetes, you ain't coming. So.
What do you get if you get the free pass? Get on the plane and you'll go very fast. Yeah, I was just waiting for Oompa Loompas to come out and like throw a little song when the whole military place was blowing up. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. Don't have kids, guys. Don't have kids because they fuck you up. You fuck your life.
Breed, guys. Breeding is the best thing you can do. Keep on breeding.
So it does become a bit of a kind of a two-way sort of film in that respect. It's following Gerard Butler's character, it's following Alison's character sort of thing, and they both it's gonna be a spoiler, so we're not gonna go anything, but there's a big
spoiler review. Yeah,
this is a spoiler review. We'll put it on the thing anyway, so if anyone wants to watch it. I would say that Gerard Butler is quite likable in this. Like,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Compared to
let's get into it now.
Compared to America, Olympus Has Fallen, all that kind of stuff, which has been like his main vehicle of stuff has always been like very physical roles, and I feel like this is actually he's bringing a bit more levity to it, a bit more humanity to it than he has done in his other roles. I could always watch Gerard Butler. I think he's
great.
I
think he brings. He's good in this. I'm not saying he isn't good in this because he is good in this. He does show a range of emotions, right? And he does it really well. But the character, I'm not talking about Gerard Butler's performance. The character, John Garrity, is one. What's his problem, man?
What do you mean? What's his problem?
What's it like? From the
What's your problem, fool?
There was a scene, and in fact, if you want, like, when we get off, go back and just watch the first 2 minutes of the movie. There's the scene where he's driving home.
Yeah.
And just
he's
literally
estranged from his wife.
Just in that scene, you're kind of like, why are you so angry, dude? Chill. Like,
he's estranged from his wife. He knows he's going home to a place that he's going to be emasculated. He's going to be forced into the living room bed or whatever it is.
John Garrity is a character I didn't like. I think he's a prick. I also think his wife's a bit of a fucking prick as well.
Wow.
But I didn't. That was I was gonna go. But
I feel like some class issues are coming out here now, Brendan. I feel like there's a bit of class thing going on here. Is that what's at the root of the problem here?
I just think I didn't like either of the characters.
Because they were well-to-do suburbanites in America.
No, I just think it was more. Possibly, yeah.
I'm trying to push your buttons here, Brendan. I'm trying to find out root causes.
I think you might be right.
I'm going into like some deep psychological process where I can get.
Like, do you know? And it's typical. And I know American movies do this, but it's like it was that scene. It was that scene, and I thought that was so cool. That scene with Alison and the son, where she was like, "Come on, you can let us on, man. You can let us on," and it's just like, who the fuck do you think you are? And it's kind of like, it stuck with me through the whole thing. And from the start, Gerard Butler, like John Garrity, just seems angry. And it's like, you shouldn't be angry. You should kind of be pitiful because I suppose in the story of you cheated on your wife, right? You should be more remorseful. Whereas you came across as like just angry and kind of,
I'll be honest, I did find that a little bit of a kind of sellout, cop-out type of, like, we don't know at the beginning why they're estranged. And their relationship is kind of fractured, but then obviously there are things that happen that force themselves to work together and everything. It's not until we get to Alice's father's home, and, her dad's there, and it's Scott Glenn, by the way. He plays her dad. Brilliant actor. I love him in everything. It kind of comes out as a kind of moment where Gerard Butler is talking to him, and they're in the barn, and it's like, if you ever kind of do wrong by my daughter again, and he's like, look, yeah, I didn't. I don't want to. I want to be with her, and she pops in and she overhears, and it's like, oh, I love you again. It was like that kind of Hollywood style of thing that I don't like. I thought that was very patronizing, to be honest with you. I thought that was very condescending. It's like, okay, they're going through some shit, and just because it's the end of the world, I say that glibly. I say that in a glib kind of way. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
it's the end of the world. Just because they think everyone's going to die.
No, but they film it in that kind of way of like, oh, this is where I realize I love you again. And it's like, it's bullshit. If that was a real thing, it's like The Road, like Cormac McCarthy's The Road. There's a part where Charlize Theron just walks out into the night. She just fucking in her nightgown just goes because she's done with her family. She's done with all of it. She's done. And the whole story is about the father and the son. And
And
what I'm just
once
trying to
again,
say,
proving John Garrity is an absolute arsehole. Because if you actually look at the timeline of things, yeah, remember there's a line in this where the little boy says, he was like, why doesn't I wish your life would, because there was an early line in the film where he said, oh, someone at school said that your life flashes before your eyes before you die.
yeah.
And then later on he's like, oh, I wish your life flashed before your eyes when you're alive, because that way you can see all the happy things and be happy. And then we have this moment where at the very end, where almost like we have this flashback, this what we are perceiving is your life flashing before your eyes moment for John Garrity. And it's all stuff that was like the previous year. Like the boy is supposed to be 4 years of age, and all the happiest moments.
Is it meant to be 4
or 5?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit older than that. Oh, but go on.
I'm just having a look because I've got like a sum around to see if they've got his age. It doesn't actually say, but let's assume he's 4. But the flashbacks we're assuming was like maybe 1 or it seemed like a 1 or 2 years. He couldn't have been that much younger, right? So what? All the flashbacks were like really recently. So why did you cheat on your gorgeous wife and you've got a lovely little son? Because you're a bastard. You're an arsehole. You're a prick. You're like, do you know what I mean?
He's a structural engineer, Brendan. He has pressure. He has height, and like that kind of scale of like being hotness and craziness. That scale, the Bell-Tower scale, right? Maybe she falls onto that. We don't know.
He's a murderer.
We know the intricacies of her life.
He's a murderer.
Well, yeah, he does kill someone in this, but
we
it's
just
the end of the
skipped
world.
We just skipped over the hammer in the head.
He was forced to. Anyway, Brendan, I realised what Nicolas Cage film that I got confused with John Cusack with 2012. It was Left Behind. Have you seen Left Behind?
No.
Oh, we're gonna have to cover that.
Okay.
That is glorious. Basically, I believe Nicolas Cage.
Let's not go into it now.
No, we won't. But that will be a preface to the when we do cover it. Nicolas Cage plays. I think he's
Dude, I've just clicked on the poster. I've just googled it, and I'm looking at the poster right now. No,
it's like a religious film. It's a religious.
No, I don't think this.
Brilliant.
Was this a straight to DVD one? Yeah.
Yes, but it was brilliant. In all the wrong ways, but it was brilliant. We're going to do it. Anyway, Greenland, not too bad. If you want a kind of end of the world type scenario thing, I know we've been living the end of the world for the last year.
Summarize it. You can't just end there, Louis. It's a spoiler review. What did you think of the end? What did you think? Come on, what happened?
What did happen at the end?
Once again, in another disaster movie, but I don't mind it. There's always a plane, man. There's always a plane.
Oh, yeah.
Always a little jet plane in there. Always worried about how many people are on the plane.
There was the kind of capacity. So basically, they find this hidden base where planes are going to Greenland. They forcibly stop this little plane taking off by putting their car in the front. They have an argument with the pilot, who is... Yeah, sorry.
No, keep on going, because we're not quite where I wanted to ask the question, so you keep going.
Okay.
Sorry.
So they get on board the plane. The plane is going over Greenland, and then one of the other meteorites kind of hits. It sends the plane into a bit of a tailspin. There's a bit of a drama of like, are they going to land properly? They do land, but they land in front of a kind of mountain. They come out of the plane. Everything's okay. They get to the bunker. There is a moment where meteorites are crashing.
The pilot's
died. The pilot's dead. The pilot's brown bread. Yeah, definitely, and his co-pilot as well. But doesn't matter because Gerard Butler and his family have made it with a group of other people. So they did their job. Brendan. And they get to the bunker. There's another meteorite that's meant to be like this is meant to be the Clark. This is meant to be the kind of world-crushing, the world-ending one. And 9 months later, they re-emerge from the bunker. They see the landscape, which is a very kind of, reddish, orange hue around everything. But they hear a bird. There's some burning going on, but they hear birds, and they know that life will continue. And they are the new people of the next world. They are the tomorrow people.
Yeah.
And that's basically how it ends.
Yeah. So just a quick one. Why wasn't he allowed on the plane with diabetes, but they all of a sudden had room for him when he arrived?
Because that wasn't the military. That wasn't the military that were bringing them the little plane. That was remember when they were in the van?
That's hold on. Why were they allowed in the bunker?
Oh, because by that point, I'm assuming. All right, here's
none of them had wristbands.
Yeah, the thing I'm assuming
they'd already turned away the boy because he had diabetes.
It was literally going to be like 5 minutes before the end of the world.
So they let everybody
That's
in.
my opinion. They was like, "Come on in. If you're here, you're going to come in. Why not?" Would you turn people away? Think of the humanity, Brendan. Think of the humanity.
Can I be completely honest with you?
You'd turn away, wouldn't you, you bastard?
Do you know what I would have thought? I thought it's a nice ending. Do you know what I would have thought would have left people if they had this would have been a much more predominant movie, and I think would have got a lot more people interested in it and more people talking about it. For that very end, that they just, you're not allowed in this bunker, so we literally are going to mow you down with machine gun fire.
You're going for like the really bad ending where they get there and everything's that actually would be
running into the bunker and the doors are lowering and they just spray them all with bullets. Get the fuck out, none of you are coming in because you weren't allowed in the first place.
Dark ending, Brendan. I love it. I mean, I do love it. I could see Gerard Butler then getting on the phone call to his Enterprise rent-a-cars going, "I need a fucking car in Greenland. Can you get me one right now?" And they'll be like, "Beep, beep, 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 beep." And they turn up. He jumps in. His family get massacred and he's off. And his Enterprise rent-a-car. And he's like, "Yeah, so long, fuckers. I've got like another 2 million contract for the next 3 episodes or next 3. Yeah, commercials. Yeah. There we go. Well, join us, guys, on the next episode of Inside Your Screen, and we'll be discussing other films. Brendan, sign us off, sir.
Guys, if you want to tune into any of our stuff, the first place you should head is YouTube. Just search Inside Your Screen. You'll find all our podcasts there. We've got loads of movie reviews, loads of game reviews. We Tony specializes in independent horror game reviews. So if you're an indie horror fan, we are the home of that. If you just want to listen to a podcast, listen to the audio, maybe download it, listen to it on your way to work. We're on all the major platforms. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on SoundCloud, we're everywhere where you can get a podcast. So check us out there. If you want to get in contact with us, we're on Inside Your Screen at Twitter. So it's at Inside Your Screen with a UR, Inside UR Screen. Get in contact with us. Let us know what you think of our shows. Get into the debate. We want to hear from you.
I would just say don't watch Contagion. 2011's Contagion. That's a bit too close to the bone at the moment. So yeah, leave that one. Bye.
Inside your screen.